Decision to proceed is yours. The decision is yours. It's yours.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for watching in advance. Thanks to all the subscribers. Please subscribe if you like the videos. If you just found this channel by accident, then I hope you enjoyed the video, and please look around on the channel. This is a tag video. So this is a tag I just found randomly. It just came up on my feed and I watched it, and I thought it was quite a nice kind of discussion about reading rather than specific books kind of tag. And it's called Would You Rather tag. Would You Rather tag. It was originally created by Rachel Reeds, and I'll link the channel below of this original creator, Rachel Reeds. And I saw Brian MR's version. So Brian MR's got a really good channel. I'm going to look into Rachel Reeds' channel, so I don't know yet. But I'm sure it's really cool. But I do watch Brian MR's videos, and he's really good. So that's how I found the Would You Rather tag. So these are decisions, like what would you rather have, what would you rather do, what would you rather be. And there's 10 questions with a tag request at the end. So with that in mind, let's have a look. So question number 1 is, would you rather read a series of books or standalone books? I would definitely rather read standalone books. So series books, I have read some series books. You can't be a reader for long without finding series books. And yeah, there are some series books I really like. And there's definitely an argument for how an author can develop the world that he's creating with a series, and you can kind of enjoy characters coming back and forth. If it's a series of books that's one big story, then you can enjoy the detail in the story developing. But standalone books are definitely my favourite. Most of my favourite books are standalone books, and by a mile, actually, I think. So yeah, definitely for me, it's standalone books. The second question is, would you rather read a male author or a female author? Which is kind of odd, in a sense that I don't think I personally would gravitate towards a particular gender. And I am aware that when I do my favourite books or when I do my favourite authors, I'm planning to do another favourite authors video at some point soon. It is weighted towards male authors, but I think that's just because there's more of them around. There's always female authors in the list, but I don't see a huge difference in the writing. I think there is a difference, but I don't in general. But I don't think it's a huge difference. So yeah, I don't really prefer either. It's a difficult one to answer. The question number 3 is, what would you rather, Barnes and Noble or Amazon? What would you rather buy from? So clearly that's an American company. Barnes and Noble's probably, I think, from what I gather, our equivalent would be something like Waterstones, a big chain that's in a lot of cities that sometimes has really big bookstores, and sometimes you get little versions of the same kind of chain bookstore. I would prefer to buy the books from the actual bookshops, so I don't like buying online. If I do buy online, it's probably going to be eBay rather than Amazon. So I do use Amazon, but actually not very often. Yeah, almost always it's eBay actually if I buy online. So I love seeing them in the wild, love going out, going for a day trip and nipping into a bookstop, or deliberately going book hunting. So I do have regular trips out with my friend, and we go specifically to bookshops, although they tend to be book hunting in second-hand shops, but often they're towns that also include a Waterstones. So, you know, we can't resist that. So yeah, I would much prefer a Waterstones than Amazon, personally. Question number 4. Would you prefer books to be made into movies or books to be made into TV shows? Which is kind of an interesting one. That's definitely a modern question, I think, because TV in general has got a lot better lately. Streaming services have clearly taken over the way we consume TV, and I'd say probably most people watch the streaming services more than they watch like BBC or ITV, and the streaming service do put a lot of money into these shows, but I think a lot of books are better off as movies. Usually you can tell the story really well in 3 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever, 2 hours maybe, because movies are a different kind of medium to books, and it works like that. If it's a TV show, sometimes it can, I don't know, it can, they just add loads of other stuff, or they just, I don't know, it's not always the right way, the right approach. But, you know, depends on the movie and depends on the TV show, really. But, yeah, probably prefer movies. Question number 5. 5 pages daily or 5 books weekly? What would you rather read? 5 pages daily or 5 books weekly? That's a really weird one. 5 books weekly, 5 books in a week is tons of reading. I can't imagine getting through 5 books in a week. I can imagine. I mean, that's closer to the average I would read in a month. I usually get through about 7 or 8 books in a month. 5 books weekly, that's crazy. 5 books, 5 pages daily is definitely my kind of thing. Although, even that doesn't seem very much. So somewhere in the middle between all that would be what I would read. As far as what I prefer, I don't know that I'd like to read 5 books in a week, because it means you're not doing anything else. So there's other things I need to do. So I love reading, but it does seem a bit obsessive to read 5 books in a week. So question number 6 is what would you rather be, a professional author or a professional reviewer? I enjoy reviewing books on this channel, and I love raving about a book. I don't really necessarily get into the negative side of it, criticising it or going on about a book I've DNF'd, or going on talking about a book I'll never read, or authors I'll never read. So I'm usually quite positive on this channel. I don't really think of myself as a significantly important reviewer. As far as an author goes, I'd love to be a professional author. I'd love the things that I've written to be picked up more and to be read more. Even a semi-professional author would be fine if it wasn't my main income, but I was getting a nice income from it. That'd be cool. So definitely from those two, I definitely prefer to be a professional author. And yeah, I'd love it. But yeah. Question number 7. Would you rather read a desert island favourites list for life, or read only the books that are unread, new and unread? Would you rather read a desert island favourites list for life, or read only new and unread books? It's an interesting choice. Really, that's a question about rereading. What would would you rather reread to death, or only read new books? And I think out of the choice, I'd rather just keep reading new stuff, because there's so much great stuff out there. I do reread, and there's a video coming up on my channel about that, and what I'm rereading and why I'm rereading it. But it's not a big part of my reading. Most of what I read is previously unread when I've read it, and I think that's because I want to read more stories. I don't have the most amazing way of retaining my memory. I mean, I do. I don't know what the right phrase is, but I definitely would benefit from rereading some things that I know what I felt about it. But if I read it like 10 years ago, probably most of it would be a surprise to me because I don't remember that well. So there is that. But yeah, there's so much out there. I want to keep reading new stuff, really. Number 8. Would you rather be a librarian or a bookseller? Well, I worked for a bookshop for 6 years. I worked for Blackwell's for 6 years, and I really enjoyed that job. It's interesting. The choice is relevant to two different things. So, relevant to my past, and so sort of the 6 years I worked for Blackwell's, which I really loved. It's one of my favourite jobs I've ever done. Partly, my boss was fantastic. She's a friend, and when she was a friend before I applied for the job, so I knew she was managing the shop, and I just it was actually the best. This is the best job interview I've ever had. It was awesome. It wasn't a job interview really. I was looking for work, and I walked past the shop, and I went into the shop, and my friend was behind the counter, and I said to her, "Are there any jobs going here?" And she said, "Yeah. When do you want to start?" So it was like, it was a fantastic moment. I was like, "Monday?" Yeah, great. And I worked there for 6.5 years, and I really loved it. I really loved working for Blackwell's. I thought it's a really good company. I was gutted that they ended up losing the space. It's a student bookshop, so anyone that isn't aware, if you're not from Britain, you might not know that Blackwell's is a really major chain of student bookshops, and they're attached to universities. They tend to be part of the university grounds, and the university decided to use that space for something else. So that was a big shame because it was a really good shop and it was a really good service for the students. So I have had some experience in working in bookshops because of that 6.5 years at Blackwell's, and to be a librarian is something I've always wanted to do as well, and it's something that I've considered as a third career, if you like. So I had 15 years in retail, and somewhere in the bridge between those two things was my 6.5 years in the bookshop after 15 years in record shops. But linking that together is this current career I've got as a teacher. So I'm about to have my 15th anniversary of being qualified as a teacher, which I'll talk about later in the year. So there's these little clumps of career moves, but I think there'll be a third one. I think I'm gonna get too old and tired to be a teacher. I think it's a bit of a young man's game. So before I retire, I'll probably do something else, and it'll probably be a librarian. Well, I say probably. I do like the idea of working for the big library here, so it could be an option. So as far as a comparison, I've done bookselling, and I'm definitely curious to be a librarian. What would I prefer? I suppose I could choose the one I've done because I know I definitely would enjoy that. But retail is like, I don't know. It's definitely a different game to being a librarian, I would have thought. But you're dealing with the public in the same way, and obviously you're dealing with you're dealing with books in a different way, but you're definitely dealing with the public in a similar way. So anyway, both things are appealing to me. One I've done, one I'm considering doing later in life. I didn't really make a choice, did I? Number 9 is, what would you rather do? Read your favourite... what? I wrote this very quickly. What would you rather do? Read your favourite books exclusively, or be able to read anything but your favourite books? That's a really weird question, because if you're reading anything but your favourite books, some of them might become your favourite books. So what happens then? If that's another question about rereading, I don't mind not rereading my favourite books, so I continue reading new things that become my favourites. It's a very strange question, that one. So, yeah, we'll move on. The 10th one is ebooks or physical books. And for me, it's definitely physical books. I haven't really got into e-reading. I have some software on my iPad, which I've kind of dabbled with, but I don't know if I don't get anywhere near the same feeling of reading that I do from a physical book. I love the feel of a physical book. Love the smell of it. I love the fact that you're picking up something and you're interacting with the book in a way that you don't on a screen. I don't like watching a screen all day anyway. I have to use my screen for work, and I don't want this to be work. You know, and it's just, there's just something really awesome about. I mean, you know, books are magical things, I think, and part of that is the actual physical form of the book. So yeah, I'm definitely a physical books person myself. So I'll tag a few people. So I don't know who's done this because I think this is quite an old one. But I'm going to tag Michael Romeo Talks Books, KD Books, Revenant Reads, and Tangible Reads. Courtney from Tangible Reads. I'll tag those for. I think I've just a few people that I've thought of. I know have done it. So yeah, there we go. Would you rather tag? Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you thought of those answers.